So in this movie, the character Ennui is this very mild navy blue emotion, and she is actually voiced by Adele Exarchopoulos, who starred most famously in Blue is the Warmest Color. And I just can't help but feel, even though it's not that big of a connection, that had to be on purpose. Like, right? Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today our movie in the middle is Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 sees the emotions headquarters get thrown into chaos when new, more complicated emotions like anxiety arrive as Riley enters her teen years. It stars Amy Poehler, Phyllis Smith, Kensington Tallman, and Maya Hawke. So it goes without saying that the first Inside Out is probably one of the best movies to come out in the last decade, and absolutely one of the best animation movies ever made, specifically for Pixar, for its seamless combination of imagination, humor, and of course, its emotion. Not only was it just a very well-made movie in general, but it was so poignant, and its simplicity of these very complex ideas and feelings made for such a wonderful starting point for kids to talk about these struggles and what they're going through and to kind of understand why they're going through it. And right after I left that theater seeing the first one, I said if they were going to make another one, and they should make it revolving around anxiety. And all these years later, they actually did. So the only logical conclusion is, of course, that the sole reason this movie is made is because of me. You're welcome. So let's talk about the sequel a little bit. Starting off with the highs, this movie is just fantastic, guys. I'm serious. It does every single thing that the first one did right, but instead of just redoing it, it builds on it and deepens it. The ideas and creativity that they have in this movie is once again just so well done, very fun, and so interesting. Just the way that they personify and make into physical things these abstract concepts like imagination, deep dark secrets, and nostalgia. It's just so clever. But honestly, what puts it over the top isn't just that they're clever about it, but and how they connect these things. Because it's one thing just to be like, okay, you know, we have the word sarcasm and it has chasm in it, so let's do something like that. Or that you have stream of consciousness, let's make it an actual physical stream. Ha ha ha, like play on words. It's slightly easy to do that. It's not the easiest thing, obviously, in the world, but if you have a big imagination, which is very great for these movies, then you can do that. But what's hard is connecting it to the deeper themes and messages, and specifically to the outside world where Riley is, to try to match up both of these things that you've now made into physical plot and characters, and match it up to what Riley is doing in the real world and have it make sense that she's doing it because this is happening. Like, it's hard to do that, and they do it so unbelievably well. And going along with that, one thing that's just so cool about the visuals in these movies is they, yet again in this one, find a way to sort of blend different animation styles. Like in the first one, you had that like secret tunnel where they went into like the pointillism and the 2D shapes and kind of flattened everything. And in this one, they do sort of something like that, but a little bit different, and it was cool because it actually also plays on adults' emotions of having an homage to shows that we watched when we were younger and video games that we played when we were younger. So that was really cool, and it made for some hilarious moments. The humor in this movie is genuinely so good. There were parts that I wasn't just laughing going, ha, for a kid's movie, that was pretty good. I was genuinely like cracking up. And there were parts that not only were the jokes themselves funny, but I could just appreciate way more as an adult. And of course, this deeper appreciation also applies to the emotions and feels of the movie as well. The concepts and ways that they came up with to display anxiety as a character and as a theme in this movie are so good. Both in the actual story with the character and with Riley, but also in how they animate it, because there's just so many things, again, visually, they're able to just show you something that makes so much sense in terms of how it looks. Like in the first one, we had the memories and how they look, and in this one, we have a concept basically of beliefs. And the way that they animate those throughout the movie is, it just makes so much sense, and it's like, yes, that's what it would look like. Like, there are so many moments in this movie that are just heartbreaking, but there is one in particular that is building to something, and as soon as you get to it actually happening, it's such a gut punch because you don't exactly know what's going to happen, but when it gets there, it's like, oh man, that is right on point. Anxiety has to be one of the best antagonists that we've gotten in a while in Pixar movies and in movies in general. And I say antagonist because there's not necessarily villains in these Inside Out movies. It's just confusion and complicated emotions and conflicts happening. And there's no real one, like, bad thing. It's just naturally, biologically what it is. But it's just so well done, and honestly, how they did it and what they did and the messages that they brought up, it was so validating to see these things, specifically with anxiety, just so clearly put in a movie that, yes, it is complex, but they simplify it so much to be like, this is what it is. And it's that simplicity that allows you to feel so deeply about it. Like, the fact that they go so much into this whole struggle of, if I don't do X, I'm not good enough. If I don't do X, I can't do Y, or Y might happen. You know, all these hypotheticals that we come up with our mind. Or, on another angle of it, something I struggle with all the time, I've been struggling with it very recently, please send help and provisions, is perfectionism. If I can just do X, then I can enjoy Y, or then Y can happen. And the deep, dark secret here that we all kind of come to understand after a while is X will never be done. X is unattainable. Y may happen, but we don't know for sure. And it's these variables, it's these things that get into our mind and just teeter around in there that go, this is going to happen. The worst thing to you is going to happen. And even if we don't see it that simply, that is what goes on. And just seeing it displayed in this movie so clearly, I don't know, it's just so good, guys. Aside from anxiety, the other emotions that we got too, I thought were really, really good. Honestly, when I saw the trailer for the first time and saw the new emotions we were going to be getting, which was anxiety, embarrassment, envy, and ennui, which I never knew actually how to pronounce until this movie, I thought, these are the new emotions? Okay, like anxiety I get, but the other ones, you know, they just all seem negative, and they seem kind of like blends of emotions we already have. But this movie made me understand it, that we needed these characters because it does get more complicated. It does get more negative as you get into teenage years. Even though you don't want it to be, it just kind of does some points. And also the fact that, yes, they are sort of these characters put together that we already have, so they're not new, but these emotions aren't necessarily supposed to be new. They're supposed to be blended, complex, intricate versions of the ones we already have, because that's what happens. Things get confused and lost in there. And I really like this too because we do get to see more from the emotions we had in the first one, the more simple, basic emotions. We get to see other sides of them, specifically Joy, who her thing in this one is, does she even need to exist anymore? Like, her entire purpose of her existence is challenged in this one, meaning, you know, does Riley even need joy? Is she going to feel joy anymore? And that, again, just hits so hard. So Inside Out 2 was just absolutely phenomenal, and I was blown away by the fact that they could make another one, and it's not just a cash grab. It actually had just as much weight and importance as the first one. Like, it just blows my mind how good these movies are. I felt so much more from this movie than half of the movies I've seen this year, and it's an hour-and-a-half kids movie. Like, it's just ridiculous. But where the first one excels in its simplicity, the second one just knocks it out of the park with how they deal with the complexity of things now in Riley's life. Up until this point in the year, I didn't really have, like, a definitive number one movie that I felt, this is number one. Right now, it's been Dune 2 up till this point. I can very much confidently say that Inside Out 2 is so far my number one movie of the year, and as such, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 4, making it my next top shelf movie. Well, guys, let me know what you thought of Inside Out 2. How does it rank in compared to the first one? Because honestly, I keep seeing back and forth of a lot of people saying that they like both. They like this one better, they still like the first one better, but they're very close, guys. If they make a third one for some reason, like as with Riley as an adult or something, and they can do just as well with that, this will be one of the best trilogies of all movie history. I'm not even joking. Like, I might be overselling this, but this movie was incredible. And as always, keep your joys high, your anxieties low, and movies right in the middle. I'll see you guys later.